Welcome to the Veteran Benefits Podcast. I'm your host, Rebecca Deming. Thank you for joining us today for our first ever episode of the Veteran Benefits Podcast. I am so excited for what we have in store for you this year and moving forward. We are dedicated to releasing one episode each week that discusses different topics related to accessing veteran disability benefits and other topics that are of interest to our veteran community, adjacent to or related to veteran benefits. We have an exciting lineup of guest speakers. We have an attorney who specializes in Second Amendment rights. I know I get the question a lot about how applying for VA disability benefits might affect gun owners' rights. We have an attorney who specializes and does a lot of discharge upgrades. We'll talk about how changing your discharge status can impact your VA benefits and other benefits that are unrelated to, but important to, unrelated to VA disability benefits, but important to our veterans and their families. We have a medical expert who's going to come talk to us about the role that a medical nexus letter or an independent medical opinion plays in the VA claims process. And we have several current and former clients who were willing to talk about their cases and their experiences in the military and kind of demystify some of the more nuanced cases and their issues related to military sexual trauma, related to caregiver support, different topics that we think are going to be interesting to our veteran audience. So I'm really excited about the topics. We're going to start off kind of with the basics about how to get VA disability benefits granted, what evidence VA considers most important. We will eventually go into a lot of condition-specific and scenario-specific topics. So if you have topic ideas that you'd like to see us address, please feel free to drop them in the comments section or reach out to us, and we will definitely work on getting content that you guys want to hear. I figured it would be good to kind of introduce myself and tell you a little bit about myself and what led me to start my firm and what led me to start this podcast so that you guys know a little bit more about me and get to know your host kind of. So I'm going to take the rest of the episode to just sort of tell you my story. And I'm excited to go on this journey with you guys. Thank you for joining me on our first episode. So my background, I went to Cornell for undergrad, and after Cornell, I went to Peace Corps, and probably shouldn't share this, but in Peace Corps, I was in West Africa, and my first exposure to the military were the Marine embassy duty folks, and we used to kind of joke that we were tougher than the Marines because we were out there in the field with no running water and no electricity. And the Marines that we saw had drivers and personal chefs and swimming pools, and the embassy duty seemed relatively easy to us. So yeah, I like to joke that I started my first job as tougher than a Marine. The more I've worked with Marines and the more I've worked with different military organizations, I don't know that that's necessarily true. When I got back, I went to law school because what else does one do as a 20-something-year-old? And I graduated, I got into corporate big law and quickly discovered that wasn't something that kind of pulled on my heartstrings or that I could feel passionate about or really develop a career in. So graduated in 2008, a couple of years in, the surge in Afghanistan was really picking up. So I started studying Dari, which is one of the languages in Afghanistan, and applied for different jobs. And I went over to Afghanistan with USAID as a senior rule of law advisor to a provincial reconstruction team and eventually to Regional Command East in Afghanistan. That's where I met my eventual husband. He was working over there with the provincial reconstruction team. And I worked alongside the awesome group of Army National Guard from Massachusetts. So our call signal when if something went wrong when we were out on a meeting with a key leader engagement. If we couldn't do verbal things, we did the lobster claw. That was, hey, let's wrap this up and get back to the vehicles. So those guys did an awesome job keeping us safe, allowing us to have some important meetings with the police and the law enforcement and the judges in our area and other key leaders. So that was a really awesome experience. And from there, when I got back, I continued working alongside military. I worked alongside US and NATO. I did some pre-deployment trainings out at 29 Palms in California. I worked at a training center developing exercises and pre-deployment trainings in Hohenfels, Germany for a year. And I worked with the State Department training UN peacekeepers. So I worked alongside US veterans who are contractors training the African UN peacekeepers for various deployments in Africa, dealing with civil military affairs and protection of human rights and atrocity prevention and all that. And I have thoroughly enjoyed my career working alongside military. It was a lot of travel. So I was looking for ways that I could keep working alongside military, but be home more frequently. And my husband retired from the Navy. And so I got accredited by VA. And I started off kind of as a hobby, just taking his case, helping out some of his friends with their VA disability claims. And I thought it was really interesting. I liked looking through medical records. I liked the challenge of understanding and navigating the VA regulatory system. I thought it was disingenuous, to say the least, that VA would say that the claim system was user-friendly and that people kind of self-serve their claims. And I definitely saw a need for, maybe not everybody, some people can get their claims granted on their own without legal assistance, but I definitely saw a need for legal professionals to help veterans navigate the system and access the benefits that they're entitled to. So I started practicing in VA disability law full-time in about 2019 is when I started full-time. And then in 2021, I opened my own law firm, ProVet Legal, which is where we are now. I currently have 3 associates working with me. So we have 4 attorneys at our firm. We serve veterans nationwide. We have systems set up so we can have phone consultations, share documents electronically. So we're representing hundreds of veterans at any given time and helping them get the benefits they deserve. And the job satisfaction I get out of doing this is amazing. I mean, there's frustrating days where you're just banging your head against the wall because VA can't seem to get it right and they don't know how to apply their own regulations and they keep messing stuff up or intentionally misreading medical records. But when we get those wins for the veterans, which is regularly, when we get those wins, the life-changing effects that we see on our veterans and their family members is unparalleled. It's really awesome to see the impact of our work and how it impacts our clients. So I don't think I'll ever do anything else. I think this is, I found my passion calling, and I love our clientele and I love the work that we do and I love my team. But we do get a lot of the same questions. We get people who are getting information on the internet as the internet gets more and more powerful. There's some really good information out there. There's also some misinformation or some misguided information. So people read stuff on the Reddit forums or on the Facebook groups, and they say, well, my friend got such and such benefit. My friend did this or that. And so I think that should work for my claim too, without having the deeper understanding of what's needed to actually win their claim. So the purpose of launching this podcast is to kind of help demystify the VA system, answer some of those questions, give people the tools they need to understand where they need help, what kind of help they need. Do they need to hire work with a doctor or medical team to provide medical opinions? Do they just need a diagnosis? Do they need lay statements to show what happened in service? So understanding the system, where VA gets things wrong, where the guidance that worked for one person might fall short for someone else, either just because it's luck of the draw with the VA system or because there's actually small nuance differences between that person's case and your case, and kind of understanding why that might be. I think it's going to be really empowering for the listeners. So I'm looking forward to this adventure, and thank you so much for tuning in to our first episode. I can't wait to have you join us for our future episodes. That's all for now. Thank you.